use them. Use them. Your principal assigns them for a reason. So do not take that help for it. Do not let it waste. Do not let it go to waste. They're there for a reason. They're there for you. They volunteer, right? They're not just assigned, a mentee, right? They volunteer because they want to see great teachers. So my mentor was great. She provided me with ideas for lesson plans, with ideas for classroom management, with ideas for everything, right? So she had been there all year, and I thank her every day, right? Because she was very important to me.
Definitely ask questions. Sometimes new teachers, you're in a new territory, you're a little uncomfortable, so you don't really want to assert yourself because you feel like you may step on toes, but ask questions. You have to take initiative in this role, especially as a new teacher. You're in a new environment, so you can't get lost. You have to let people know you're there, and that if you have questions, ask them. And as far as a mentor goes, I would say flock to someone. If you're not given a mentor, flock to someone in your department that can help you. For me, I flocked to Mr. Couch. He was a former teacher, and he was a veteran in my department. So he helped me out a lot. He gave me materials that I might need. I could always ask him questions, and he was very helpful. So use your department, use your mentor, and don't be afraid.
Definitely find a mentor. Definitely talk to your mentor once a week or once every other week, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because that definitely at first I felt like I was bothering people, and you're not bothering people. If anything, when you ask, they like to help you because they like to teach you something. So definitely ask questions and ask for help because you're not by yourself.
I would say ask away. My mentor is not near me. He's quite a bit of a walk, but I still make my way down there pretty much every single day to ask him a question, because every day you will have a question. And don't be afraid. When there's people that have been doing this job for 10, 20, 30, 40 years even, they know what they're doing. They're gonna give great advice. And some advice you may not want to take directly, but take their advice and then sort of, you don't have to do exactly how they teach, but twist it into your own version.
Ask all questions, nothing, I don't think anything can be silly. I don't think that there's a dumb question at all. In my personal opinion, people are like, oh, there's many dumb questions. Yeah, but it's how you take it. Ask everything, because the more questions you ask, the better off you are. Because if you don't ask those questions and then you're stuck, then what are you gonna do? I'm one of those, I'm a very resourceful person, so if I don't know the answer, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask my administrators, I'm gonna ask my fellow coworkers, I'm gonna ask my mentors, I'm gonna ask everybody that I can. If I don't, and I'm gonna seek the answer, because it's better to know than you run into a roadblock and then you're a deer with headlights. What do I do? So it's better to ask as many questions as possible.
I definitely ask a lot of questions, and use your mentor. She's the biggest resource that you have, and being new, and you just always have a lot of questions, and nothing is a dumb question. Just always ask, and don't be afraid, and always use, even if your mentor is, sometimes my mentor wasn't a teacher, she was a specialist, so it was kind of harder to get in touch with her, but my team members are awesome, so I always go to them too.
That is crucial. So for me, we have 2 PE coaches, and my fellow partner, she's been doing this for 20-some years, so she knows everything, ins and outs of everything, district, everything. And so I have to be very, very, very forward and and I have to go up and chase after advice and seeking help. I think it's so important to seek help from your mentors, because you don't know what you're doing the first year. You want to be as great and as impactful as possible, have the greatest impact that you can have on the kids and in your whole school, and you're not going to be able to do that if you don't know what you're doing. There's a saying that is, if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together with somebody.
Be a self-starter. Be a self-starter. You can't wait for people to tell you how to do your job or what to do. You have to take that initiative. Once again, you have to be a self-starter, even if it's not in your personality, even with lesson plans, okay? You have to think about anything that can go wrong. Just to start, do it. Take the reins.
Try not to take things home all the time. I know there's always going to be certain times where you want to take something home because you know, but even if it means coming to school early or staying an hour late, just try to keep it separate because you don't want to get in the habit, because I've gotten in the habit of taking things home all the time, and it does hurt like your personal relationships, or like my roommate's always like, okay, like you're always working. So definitely try to create a line between work and home life.
Always be organized, be ready. There's gonna be things that may happen, and it's gonna involve a lot of time. Maybe parent meetings after school, you know, staff development meetings. Overall, just be very well organized. Have some goals set in mind with things that you want to accomplish throughout the year. But overall, just be patient. You know, set some routines. Routines are very important. The first couple of weeks might be a little bit rough, only because the kids will try to test you. They try to get to know you, and you're doing the same with them. You're trying to get to know the kids. So, you know, always be organized, be ready.
Well, for brand new teachers, I always say it's always good to stand at the door and give knuckles, you know, and because that again goes back to that rapport with the kids. And there's a lot of little things that I use in the classroom, like you know, warm-ups. Like I would recommend always having a warm-up to sort of get your kids engaged as soon as they enter the door. So they shake your hand, they knuckle, and then they already have something to work on. That's definitely been a big help for me.
Pace yourself. Pace yourself. Give yourself time to really learn everything. You're not going to learn everything all in one day. Be patient. Have lots and lots of patience, forgiveness, because you know I can speak for myself. I'm pretty hard on myself, and I've had to learn to just kind of forgive myself if I didn't do something exactly how it was supposed to be, or learning that, okay, it didn't work this time, so let's try it again next time.
I would tell them to just work hard, do their best. They're here for a reason, to not give up, even if they feel, you know, that they can't do it anymore, or they just want to give up teaching, and they say, because it's happened where, I've experienced it before, where other new teachers came up to me and told me, oh my gosh, it's so hard, it's nothing like teaching, and nothing how they expected teaching would be. And so they're trying to make the decision to change from teaching, and then tell them, no, you know, like you're here for a reason. You chose this, you worked so hard to get here, and it's a big blessing and opportunity to be, you know, teaching young minds, and hard work pays off. It really does.
Be flexible. Don't, I myself personally am the type that I'm like super organized, I try to like be prepared for everything, but me personally, I'd learn to be flexible and to just go with the flow sometimes, because you just never know. Sometimes it's not in your, like not everything is gonna be in your lesson plan. You just kind of have to go for it, and based on what your kids, sometimes when you're teaching and you realize that your kids are nowhere where they need to be, you just kind of have to go from where they're at and build up.
So I really want to involve more like kinesthetic learning. So you know, you have students that have different learning styles. You know, I've tried the visuals. Well, I do implement the visuals and the verbal, but I really think like movement is necessary, because kids are just sitting there, and we have a block schedule, so that's an hour and a half of kids sitting there or losing focus. So I think having them move around more, that'll help. But along with that, parental advocacy. I want my parents involved with what's going on at school. And I think too many times we get caught up in contacting parents when it's a negative thing versus contacting them when something positive is also going on. Or, hey, I see Aaron is doing this well, or he can work on this area, but it's not that he's failing or there's a behavioral issue that I'm waiting to contact you. So I would say definitely use the parents more, because they want to be involved, but you have so many parents that are intimidated. with the education system. But I would definitely say I want to involve my parents more.
Taking advantage of my planning time, being able to know exactly what I'm going to be doing for the kids, knowing the rules. If we're playing a certain game, I got to make sure I know all the rules, how to do this, being prepared for if there's changes. If you have certain kids with certain disabilities, how are you going to change the game up to accommodate them, include them? Definitely with being prepared with these certain classes, because there are some kids who may not get along with other kids. So definitely thinking about all of these things during planning time can be crucial to all the kids being able to get the learning and the education that's needed. So definitely during planning time, making sure that you've thought of almost everything during planning time.
At the beginning of the year, I did a lot more kind of individual work. And now through the year, I'm doing a lot more, like we're walking around the room, we're going outside, in the hallways we're doing stuff, or partner work. And hearing the students talk to each other and help each other has definitely built them, and they have become stronger learners in general. I really do believe that they're stronger learners kind of all the way around. So I'll definitely try to implement that a little more earlier on with those fundamentals of math. But I also kind of want to focus more on having us, because you'll have students that are, like I have some I know that could be in pre-AP, and then I have some that are very low. And so trying to still encourage and push my pre-AP kids while helping my lower ones, that's going to be more of my focus too.
One thing is I'm probably going to be a lot stricter on cell phones next year, because if you don't start that from the beginning, I've realized that they'll try to sneak it out on you. And in this day and age with Snapchat and everything, they're going to want to always have it out. And so next year I'm going to be a lot stricter with the cell phones.
My time management, using like more clocks maybe to help me maintain my time and make my time a little bit more efficient, because I think that's the hardest part.
You're going to have times in teaching where just something doesn't work, or the kids, they're just crazy, because especially at the end of the year, they get a little more anxious, or something could be happening in the hallway. You're just not, it's just not the best day. But my thing is every class period, not just every day, but every single class period, find something positive to focus on. Like even if it's just a kid said something nice to another kid, or if somebody answered a question right, focus on whatever positive there is, and it just makes your whole day, you'll remember the positives more than the negatives. So every day, even the kids are like, well, you got onto me yesterday. And I was like, honestly, I already forgot. Like, we can move on. And it helps the kids. It builds a relationship with them, which is always good, because they'll work harder for you with that relationship. But also it teaches them to kind of be compassionate towards other students in the room too, if you're compassionate.
Overall advice, you come in with the winning mindset. They say the first year is usually the roughest, but you have a lot of support systems here in Galena Park, especially, and, use your administrators, your principals, anybody, they'll have an answer for you. And of course, as an educator, you're a go-to person. You're somebody important in these kids' lives. And with that being said, you want to teach something beyond the TEKS that are mandatory for you to teach. Some of the kids might come to you without manners. You teach beyond the TEKS, teach manners, teach how to be compassionate, teach kindness, responsibility. You're an educator, and these kids, sometimes they need you, and they need you to be somebody in their lives, and teaching them how to be great citizens. It's probably one of the best things they can remember you by.
To have fun. Have fun, learn as much as you can, and just be patient with the process. I mean, you're gonna have good days and you're gonna have bad days, but always try to stay positive, and fake it till you make it. If you're just having a terrible day, the kids will pick up on that. Just put on a smile and pretend life is great, because you don't know what they're experiencing either. So, just try to stay positive, for yourself and for them, because that definitely makes the classroom dynamics a lot easier, and you don't notice the tension and everything in the class. So that definitely helps.
Really take pride in being a teacher. It is something that, with a lot of other careers, it can be looked over at times, but this is so important because we grow the kids who are in every other career. So, you know, a lot of the dreams start off as children. Elementary is so important, middle school, high school is so important because we put the foundation in for these kids to actually believe in themselves. And so for me, if one of the best things about being a teacher for me is seeing when a kid gets a new skill, when they finally understand something and a light goes off in their head and they're like, oh, it's something that I just didn't think of or didn't try to do before. So for playing a certain game and they get better at it and they see themselves get progress, then it's an amazing feeling because you actually see yourself helping somebody else, helping a group of kids. You know, when they come and they run and they try to hug you, there was one time where I was gone for 10 minutes. I came late from taking a photo, and I showed up 10 minutes late to the class in the second grade, and they were like, Coach O, and they just ran. They all ran. Totally took away procedure. You're supposed to stay on the line, but they didn't care. They ran. And so times like that are just awesome because you actually feel like you're making an impact. You actually feel like you're doing something that's important for people, other people, especially kids, because kids are awesome. You
have these children that are directly looking to you. You can tell kids to do one thing, but they're gonna follow your actions all the time. And so you do have to hold yourself to that higher standard. And I guess that's something I would definitely tell new teachers too, to add in there, is that you have to hold yourself to that standard because kids, they're gonna tell you when you're messing up. They are honest and they are going to tell you. So if you're preaching, you better walk the walk.
Teach from the heart, and don't just focus on academics. I know it may sound like, you know, very unprofessional, but at the end of the day, these kids are here to make a difference in our lives. And my kids have definitely made a difference in my life, making me a better teacher, making me a better mentor, being a role model to some of these male students who don't have a father figure, who don't have a mother, who don't have family. It was very hard to see some of these kids not have anyone to go home to but auntie and uncle. So just teach from the heart, remember why we do this, and at the end of the day, your kids are your number one fans at the end of the day. So teach from the heart.